Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Reviews with Cats here on Live That Adventure. If it's your first time here, I'm Dustin and that was 𝐀𝐄𝐄 that just went through. And you may be noticing that things are looking a little bit differently, mainly because of the lighting. And that's because we are actually using the light that we will be reviewing today as our key light, and it is the Flextail Helio 600z. Thank you, 𝐀𝐄𝐄. In this video, we will be going over all the features and specs, things I like, and things that I think could be improved upon. In the interest of transparency, I will say that Flextail did send us this light for the review, but there were no requirements for me to be saying only nice things about it or anything like that. So if I like it, I'm going to say something about it, and if I don't, I'm going to say something about that too. As usual, I like to start off the videos with the question on everyone's mind. What does this bad boy cost? Well, it is $35.99, and that's already a really good deal, but if you use coupon code LTA15, you'll get 15% off of that. I think that this is a really solid price point for this light, especially when you consider other fancy lights like the Zebra light cost about 3 times as much, so you could get a whole bunch of these for the cost of that one light alone. This headlight comes in with a weight of 2.1 ounces, making it a pretty light light. See what I did there? The lighter weight of this headlight does make it great for people who like to go on long night hikes or nighttime trail runners. Since I already mentioned the battery, let's talk about it. The light comes with a 3.3 watt-hour 900 milliamp hour battery. With this, you can run the light at full power for about 3 hours. When it comes time to charge it back up, you can either plug into the USB-C port located on the side of the headlight, or you can charge the battery itself that also has a USB-C port on it. This will show you how much charge you have with the little blue indicator lights on top. If it has 4 lights, your battery is between 76 and 100%. 3 lights means you have 51 to 75%. 2 lights mean you have between 26 and 50%, and 1 orange blinking light is 0 to 25%. Flextail does of course make the batteries that these lights run on, and the good thing is that they are only about $10 to $12 each, depending on which size you get. If you have seen some of our darker videos, you will know that we always say that it is important to have at least 2 light sources with multiple batteries for each. Well, one cool thing about this light is that if you have a power cell for charging your phone and such, you can plug it into the light and run it directly off of the battery pack, even if it does not have a battery in it. This could come in handy in an emergency. In fact, Flextail just came out with a portable power bank. Maybe they had all this planned out. The Helio 600z has a waterproof rating of IP67. And if you have no idea what the heck that means, this signifies that the device is fully protected against dust and can withstand being submerged in 1 meter of water for up to 30 minutes. This will definitely come in handy if you are going to be exploring underground caves that have dripping ceilings, like we did on our last trip. So unless you are canyoneering under pounding waterfalls or scuba diving, this light should have plenty of protection against the elements. Another category that is pretty important is obviously how bright is it? This is going to be a little bit of a lengthy category, so if you need to pause and get a drink or a snack, I'll wait. Okay, now that we're back, let's bring up that chart. Since this light has 4 different modes, being mixed light mode, spotlight mode, floodlight mode, and red light mode, we have a lot to cover. Let's start at the top with mixed light mode. If you use it at full power, you will be getting 600 lumens and the headlight will run for 4 hours. Dropping it down to 250 lumens will give you 10.5 hours. And if you use the lowest setting, you will get 100 lumens and it will run for 23 hours. Next we have spotlight mode, and it only has 2 settings. The top one gives you 400 lumens and runs for 6 hours, and the low setting gives you 100 lumens and runs for 20 hours. Next we will move over to flood mode, and you have 3 settings here. The top one is 200 lumens and runs for 12 hours. The middle one gives you 100 lumens and runs for 17 hours, and the lowest is 5 lumens and it runs for, get this, 129.5 hours. After that, we do have red light mode. If you have it on constantly, it will give you 10 lumens and run for 36.5 hours. And if you have it blinking, it also puts out 10 lumens, but runs for 34 hours. If you are running the white SOS or beacon mode, both of them put out 600 lumens and will run for 9.5 hours. If you're not familiar with using a red light while you're out camping or being in the outdoors, it has several benefits. The first one is that you won't be blinding your fellow campers or hikers, and the other one is that it won't constrict your pupils as much, making it easier to transition from red light to darkness. This is really great if you're out there trying to look at stars. Next, let's talk build quality. One thing that I love about Flextail products is that they seem like they never cut corners, and this little light is no exception. This thing seems like it can really take a beating, and I'm really hard on my stuff, so unfortunately, it's probably gonna get one. One thing that I really love about it is that it has 60 degrees of adjustment, and I must say that at least at the moment, this is the most solid little ratchet that I've seen on a headlight. I mean, listen to this bad boy. It is very crisp, and it seems like it stays right where you want to put it, and this is good because I've had headlights that flop around, and this isn't one of them. The light also has other nice refined features like this little foam pad on the back of the light. A lot of the times we'll be using this with our helmets, but for the times where it's going directly on our foreheads, this little foam pad will make it much more comfortable. Another thing that I find pretty cool about the light is the bungee cords that it uses as a head strap. These are both reflective and replaceable, I believe. They just pop right off the light, like so. On a side note, I have not seen these bungee cords available for sale on the Flextail website, but if you break one, I'm sure you can contact them. I've always found their customer service to be very top-notch. When I first received the light, I wasn't exactly sure how I was going to feel about the bungee cords because I've always used more traditional headlights with the strap like this one. But these bungee cords are actually quite comfortable even when wearing them for extended periods of time. These bungees are a one-size-fits-all. You just have this little adjustment right here. But the only downside that I think that you may have with this is that if you have a smaller head, you're going to end up with a pretty big loop of bungee cord coming off the back. And you know, if you're in a kind of situation like caving or something, you may need to tape this up or do something to keep this from getting hooked on a rock or something and get your stuff all tangled up in a bad situation. But adjustable, one size fits all. Next, let's go over the operation of the light. Since it does have a flood mode and a beam mode, it obviously has two buttons located right on top of the light. While these buttons are easy to find, there is a tiny bit of a learning curve to remember which one is which. I did come up with a little bit of a trick to remember which button is which. There are two symbols right here on top of the light. The one for the beam is raised up, and then the one for the flood is kind of engraved into it. So if you feel bumps, bumps starts with B, and so does beam. Bumps, beam. There you go. With the light running in beam mode, a long press will give you that SOS pattern, and one more click will just give you a nice blinking light. If you're looking for the red light modes, you need to be in floodlight mode. It's just another long press that will give you red light mode, and one more click will give you the strobing red light. Obviously, 𝐀𝐄 is very excited about these modes. You like this light, huh? She approves. As I mentioned before, finding out how to access the red light, the button patterns and everything might take just a second the first couple of times you do it, but eventually it gets to be pretty much second nature. Another nice little feature of this light is that you can lock it before you throw it in your bag. To do that, you just do a long press on both buttons at the same time. Eventually, it will blink a couple of times, and that means it is locked. Buttons don't work anymore. That's really nice because who wants to show up to your hike or to camping with a dead headlight? And there is one more thing about this light that I absolutely love, and this may not be a big deal for most people, but it does not cause flicker on your footage. This is huge for us because, as you know by this channel, we like to film our adventures, and flicker in your video can wreck your footage. So unless you're wanting it to look like you're filming a rave, you may want to pick up this headlight, and I'd like to send a huge thank you out to Flextail for making it much easier for me to edit dark videos. One thing I don't like about review videos is when they are all hype with no cons. So I took a really good hard look at this light to try to find some things that I feel like they could improve upon. I'm really going to have to grasp at straws to come up with things that they need to fix on this light. In fact, the top thing I was going to talk about was fixed just by taking a longer look on their website. To charge the light, all you have to do is pop open this little rubber cover, and there is the USB-C port right here. And I thought that the other side, if you wanted to take the battery out, required some sort of a tool. And I was going to say, I wish that it just had an easy to open door or something like that. But when I took a longer look on the website at this little adjustment piece, I noticed something, and it's this little tab right here. It turns out that this is the tool required to access the battery compartment. It just pops right in. Off comes the little door, and there's your battery right there. So that thing is already fixed. I think that the only other things that I would have on a wish list for future versions of this light is possibly like a 1 lumen mode that would just give you a tiny bit of light and run for pretty much ever. And the only other thing that I could think would be some sort of a memory built in. I am not an engineer and I have no idea how difficult that would be, but let's say that you are using it in the red light mode and you turn it off. It'd be so cool if you had a way to turn it back on and have it go right back into red light mode again. Because right now, if you're using the red light and you turn it off, when you turn it back on, you're gonna start all the way from the top and you have to turn on the regular white light, hold the button to re-access the red light again. So if you could do that somehow, I think that it would take this thing to a whole nother level. But besides that, the buttons having a little bit of a learning curve to learn, and the loop possibly getting stuck somewhere if you are taking on something like the Chasm of Doom, this light is a solid little unit, and it's a great piece of gear. That is going to do it for this review. What do you think? Is the 600Z going to end up in your backpack? Let us know in the comments below. And until next time, I am Dustin from Live That Adventure. Stay safe out there.